Welcome, our fellow lovers of love, and thank you for joining us on yet another excursion through the stream of consciousness, down the river of tranquility, to fill the lake of life with love.
Good evening, everybody. So you can join us on this version of Late Night Love as we dive into the complexities of relationships, parenting, work, and if you hang around to the end, we can get to some intimacy questions. This episode tackles real-life dilemmas like dealing with a partner's unexpected silence, navigating accusations of infidelity, and handling parenting challenges. We also discuss workplace boundaries and the nuances of intimacy. So tune in. So stay tuned in, thankfully, for the heartfelt advice, relatable stories, and a touch of humor. Well, maybe. I think I'm funny anyway.
I know you're funny.
Yeah. I think
You always make me laugh.
Well, I think I'm funny. So anyway, so hang around, and we'll deal with that. But before we start all that, I wanted to mention that this is Suicide Prevention Month, and you can call 988. Is it? It's 988. But we also have. You can also reach out to the mental health hotline at 1-866-903-3787. If you or someone you know is having a difficult time, I forgot to bring the script for the Suicide Prevention Month. I believe it's 988. They have the 3-digit code for that.
I don't know. Okay.
But anyway, as we always routinely discuss, your mental health is important to us and yourself and your communities more than you know. So make sure you take the time to take care of yourself and those around you.
Is part of mental health is part of self-care.
Yes. And suicide prevention isn't about necessarily yourself. It's about those around you. Stay connected as best you can. Yeah. And, if you think someone needs help, it doesn't hurt to ask. You don't even have to ask directly, especially if you're dealing with a man. Just, reach out, be there, be available if they need someone to hang out with. Maybe the most boring 3 hours of your life, but it may be the most important. You never really know. So
I've done that, and I've been on both the receiving end and I've been the giver, and there is healing that happens in silence and just sitting there watching a cooking show,
Yeah, you never know.
Play Yahtzee. Yeah. It just spending time doing nothing. Just banal, everyday things. Doesn't have to be exciting, earth-shattering conversations.
No, but it can be. But for them, it can be a respite from the torment.
Exactly.
And so, yeah. So take your time this month. Reach out somewhere if you need help. We got whether it's the mental health hotline or I'm going to look it up. 98. Brought my keyboard with me today. Just bear with us on a little bit. So while we're looking this up, we'll talk about, we've got, if you're here in Sacramento.
Yes, it's 988.
Yeah, 988. Okay, yep. So we were correct. So call 988 if you need if you or someone need some help, and they will direct you towards some resources. Or if you're online, go to mentalhealthhotline.org is another resource. Mm-hmm. And that is 1-866-903-3787. So there's a couple resources, and reach out. They are there to help you. And so is the rest of your community, even if they don't know it.
Yeah.
All right. So also, if you are in Sacramento, a place called Sacramento Film Festival, tickets are on sale now. You can go to accesssacramento.org. And it's a fun little event. Filmmakers, a lot of them are making their first short 10-minute film. It's a good community building. Some of these movies have gone on to win awards at other festivals.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's Being Santa. So if you guys want to look up one, go look up Being Santa. It's a wonderful tearjerker of a movie. Short 10-minute clip. You can find it. Probably it's on YouTube. Yeah. Go look at
I remember that one.
Yeah, no, it's a great one. And so, and there's a lot of them are like that. And some of them are, exactly community made films, but all of them have heart and determination and accomplishment. And, if you happen to be free on October 11th here in Sacramento at the Crest Theater, you can go down and support your community, support your creative community here in Sacramento. And if you're not in Sacramento, well, your community likely has something similar type event. And so, support them as best you can. All right. And I wanted to talk about screen time for children because there's a lot of this overreaction to how much time children are spending on their phones or cell phones. But, we're both old. This is the same old, same old.
This is the same stuff that every generation hears something about.
Yeah, it was too much screen time. When it was in the 70s and early 80s, it was too much TV screens.
Yeah.
Too much TV screens.
And before that, it was too much books, too much radio.
Too much radio. And then it was too many books. You should be out doing something productive, right?
Yeah.
Instead of sitting there doing nothing, reading some
They actually had in the 1700s, it was called reading fever.
Yeah.
They actually had a
name for it.
Had a name, yeah.
Yeah, it was some kind of disorder. They treated it as a disorder.
Yes.
Too much reading was treated as a disorder, just like we treat too much screen time now. And for me, the studies don't say what we think they say. They actually don't. They're not there's a handful of studies that say social media has a negative impact on teens. There's a handful of studies that say they can't distinguish from a background, which means it's not a replicable thing, which means it's something else. And we can argue over what the something else is. There's plenty of things we have done to our children since 50. Pick a decade, right?
Mm-hmm.
And life has always been changing ever since then. And we have, we could blame the education system, we could blame culture at large, but it's called evolution, cultural and societal evolution at this point. And our children are being prepared for a world we can't prepare them for. We have no idea what the world's going to look like in 20 years. None. Just think back 20 years ago. Could we have imagined what the world was going to look like today? No, they're never right. The world of tomorrow people, they're never right. So why do we pretend that they're going to be? I'm more worried about the repercussions of the actions we're taking to limit their screen time.
What actions are people taking?
Well, now we're passing laws to say kids have to not take their phones to school and things like that. Not it be a teacher policy, not it be a school policy, not it even a school district policy where parents and students and whatnot, parents and students can choose your schools. Some schools don't, some schools do. No, they're passing laws at the state level because, nanny state knows best. But when you do this, it's a sledgehammer to the culture and you don't understand the repercussions of this. And it's dangerous, all in the name of saving the children. We've seen this before and it's never gone the way they think. If these things had worked in the past, we wouldn't be where we are now. Correct. And so we're just going to try more of it. We're going to use bigger hammers and bigger sledgehammers and pretend it's going to work rather than going, maybe we need to release pressure and think of something different. Maybe we need to shake the Etch-a-Sketch and start over. I don't know the right answer. I'm not going to pretend I do here. Because the truth is there's likely no correct answer. We just have to try to do better, but we have to think about it more clearly. We become so target fixated that we lose sight of the damages that we are going to do, collateral damage. We don't even pay attention to it. Anyway, so I guess my whole point on that is don't overreact when it comes to your children's screen time. Don't punish your child for somebody else's abuse of it. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have your children have to practice for the world that they will be in, and whether we like it or not, screens are going to be a part of that, and so they have to practice. And one of the things about practice is you're going to fail sometimes. You have to be allowed to fail so they can learn where those boundaries are, when it's safe, which is now. Then they have to be allowed to fix it. That makes them responsible. That also makes them less likely to make those same mistakes later when they have to fix it. So yeah, they might spend some time. They might not get enough sleep for a few days in a row, and they're going to pay the price. And as long as they're willing to pay that price, they're less likely to do it in the future.
Mm.
So,
Okay.
pick your battles. I suppose, like anything, there is no silver bullet on this one. It's just so be cautious as we go through this. All right, so we're starting with parenting tonight.
Yes. Okay. This lady, she doesn't know what to do. She has a sneaky teenage daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and the girl is 16 and she's sneaking out to drink.
There are serious problems with this thing. Girls at 16 sneaking out to drink is far more dangerous, or a different kind of danger, technically speaking, than boys sneaking out at 16. They put themselves into a different type of danger. Boys are in danger of all kinds of goofy, stupid things, right? Them and their friends doing something stupid and someone getting hurt.
Yes.
That's the danger. When it's boys, girls put themselves in a position where they can be more easily taken advantage of.
Yeah.
And that's a different type of danger. I'm not going to say it's better or worse, but it's a different type of danger. And that at 16 is what we're worried about. And, and this was difficult for me because at 16, I was sneaking out drinking. We had plenty of young ladies join us, and there was never any real danger. But that's not the reality that everybody can trust. And so your teenage daughter is dealing with some kind of trauma. Maybe it's not fitting in. Maybe it's a broken family. Maybe it's whatever, right? She needs some healing. And that's the path out of this. The drinking and sneaking out is a symptom, not the problem. You're going to have to figure out the problem and deal with that. Because you're dealing with the symptom. You're dealing with the sneaking out, and you deal with the drinking directly without dealing with the underlying issue. And all you're going to get is more resistance. You can deal with them both. You can deal with all of it, but you have to deal with all of it at the same time. You can't deal with the sneaking out and the drinking without dealing with whatever trauma she's dealing with. And who knows what it is? It could be something that we as adults seem silly, but to a teenager, it's the biggest thing in their life because it's the biggest thing in their life so far. So that's what I'm saying. All right. So what do? Deal with her trauma. And you likely know what it is, right? You likely know what her trauma is.
Yes.
So, start to deal with it. Deal with the trauma and then deal with the sneaking out and the drinking. The drinking is a serious problem. I'm less worried about the sneaking out. That's kind of what teenagers do than I am with the teenage girl out in the middle of the night drinking.
Yeah.
Especially if she's doing it, as they often are, to cover for some trauma. I have an instinct this is a broken home, and it's got something to do with that. She's feeling unloved, and that's even more dangerous. Girls who are going out who have an intact home and coming out drinking on the weekends or something, they're not in as much danger as those who sneak out on a Tuesday night. And that's kind of the thing that I'm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good luck. Okay, what's next?
Okay. Dog bit my baby, and she's feeling very guilty now. She removed the dog
Mm-hmm.
from the home. I forget exactly the details,
Okay.
but she is just overwrought with guilt, and she's never going to have another dog, and
These things happen as parents, and yes, you're going to feel guilty for a while, but it will lessen. It'll go away. Don't worry. At 70 years old, you'll think about it, and you'll still have a pinch of guilt. You just well, it just won't be so oppressing. You won't think about it all the time.
Mhm.
There are always times when we are not attentive enough as parents, right? It's the nature of humanity. You can't have a life and always be paying attention, right?
Mhm.
It's literally not possible. And for most of us, nothing happens during those times. You turn your back for a minute with a baby sitting in a seat or a bassinet or whatever, it's fine. And on occasion, circumstances line up and something bad happens.
Yeah.
Luckily, this wasn't tragic. So maybe think of it that way. Yeah. Think of it could have been worse.
It could have been a lot worse.
And so, sometimes as parents, you're just going to have to forgive yourself for not being there. You just are. Or not trusting an instinct. Maybe there is. Maybe she trusted, maybe she knew that the dog and the baby weren't getting along and didn't do enough. Assumed that the dog would adjust and it didn't. Dogs can be like older siblings, right? They get jealous of the
Yeah,
time,
they do.
and some take to that as a protector, another take to it as a fighter for resource. And depending upon the nature of the dog, you never know. This wasn't the case this time. So you're gonna have to learn to forgive yourself, but there will always be a ting of guilt, right? Until the day you pass. It's one of those things. And I suspect if all of us parents really sat down and thought about it, every one of us has one. And if you have multiple kids, you likely have more than one.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Okay.
Okay, help. My 7-year-old boy is going to give a boy a flower.
So what?
He's 7.
It's 7. It's just a flower. It doesn't mean anything. And even if it did, so what? Right? It's a 7-year-old thing. How many things actually start at 7? Lots of 7-year-olds have crushes of all kinds of various sorts. Maybe he just likes flowers. Boys can like flowers. There's nothing wrong with boys liking flowers. If you like rocks and sticks, so why not a flower?
Flower, yeah.
Yeah, you'll give your friend a stick, so why not give him a flower? Man, don't worry about it. Let him. He's practicing relationships. All of these children are practicing relationships. Let him practice. It doesn't mean what it means for us. It's most likely just giving his friend a flower.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Hey, I like you. Here's a flower, because people give people they like flowers. And right? He's seen in the world, people give people they like flowers. And so he's got a friend. I'm going to give him a flower. 7-year-old logic, man. Makes perfect sense.
Who does?
All right. What's next?
My 10-year-old draws better than me. What next? Well, you could find some classes. You could get her, if she's really that great, I mean, get her started at the college level. Get her in some courses there.
Let her take the lead on this thing. If she wants to draw as her own personal hobby, encourage it. If she wants to take classes and become more formal with it, encourage it. But don't push her anywhere. If she's that talented and that desirous, she won't need to be pushed. just give her the opportunity to continue it. It's great that she's better than you. Every leader, every parent, every person should want those who they have instructed to surpass them. It should be the goal of every teacher, leader, parent, community member. You should want those around you to surpass you, and those around you should want you to surpass them. That's how we all continually have a better life, better society, better communities. You should want everybody to succeed. And so in this particular case, just don't get in her way. It's all you've got to do. She'll tell you which way she wants to go. If she wants classes, she'll tell you. If she just wants to have enough art supplies so she can draw all the time, make sure she has enough art supplies so she can draw all the time. And she'll get better naturally. She's got the University of YouTube, right? She doesn't necessarily need formal classes. You just need to let her take her path. Encourage her and help her, during those difficult times. When she's not feeling confident, boost her confidence. If she's stuck trying to learn something, help her with the search engine, help her look for a YouTube video that she can connect with, whatever it is you can do. Sometimes the best thing you can do in a situation like that is just encourage them. And yeah, but you know what? Trust me, if there's another thing here, a lot of 10-year-olds draw better than me. So, if that's what you're worried about, you're feeling a little down about yourself because you thought you were a pretty good artist, and all of a sudden this 10-year-old draws better than you, and you're feeling a little down about yourself, every 10-year-old draws better than me. So feel pretty good about yourself. You might be coming up with a, once in a generation artist, and don't feel bad. Right? Type of thing. Don't compare yourself to others, compare yourself to you. All right, what do we have next?
When did you let your kids start working out? Okay, this boy is 12 and he's really working on his upper arms.
Yeah.
He wants, to be buff.
I would first talk with your doctor, just get a general thing. And then if he really wants to do it, you get someone who's specialized in training. And it may just be like the local football coach or something who knows how to train young people. And so you talk to a doctor who knows how to, what the kind of the limits are. And then you find someone who can, instruct him on what the limits are.
Yeah.
And how to do it properly. Because the biggest thing at this stage is probably teaching him proper technique. Because if he does it wrong, he can hurt things for, while he's still growing. If you do something wrong, you can mess up your elbow or your shoulder for the rest of your life. So proper technique at this stage is probably the most important thing.
Okay.
So you don't hurt your back. Make sure you get the proper gear, right? This is one of those things. Make sure you have proper gear, proper safety gear.
Mm-hmm.
And nutrition. Make sure he understands that nutrition is a large part of working out. You can't just lift weights and not do anything else and expect. It's a whole package. And if he's got the determination, if a child has a motivation to do something, I always encourage you to let them follow it, unless it's dangerous. And lifting weights isn't inherently dangerous. There's nothing dangerous about it as long as you understand the boundaries for the age.
Yeah.
And so I encourage it because he can learn about nutrition. There's all kinds of things, right? And who knows where it takes him.
Don't know.
Maybe he becomes a physical therapist. Maybe he becomes a sports surgeon. Who the heck knows, right? Where it takes him. So I encourage it. Just find the limitations and keep them within those.
There we go. Okay.
Okay.
Will I be able to survive on my own with 3 kids?
Well, the answer is yes. No one says it's easy, but yes, you can. It's grit, determination, and a lot of exhaustion, and probably some tears. There will be times where you will question yourself, but the reality is you can. Look out you. People do it every day. Try to do it with the biggest smile on your face and appreciate what you have rather than what you don't. I was talking with someone who's running for office on my other show the other week, and she was talking about how when they first got to move into her first house, to her as a kid, it was just a house. It was a nice house. It was the most wonderful thing. Looking back as an adult, it was, it was barely habitable. But as a child, it was the most glorious thing. It was their first house. Before they'd always been in less pleasant conditions, right? This was great. This was
this was better.
Yeah. And so understand, children are very resilient. The attitude you give them is going to be far more important than what they're living around. So yeah, it's going to be it's going to be difficult, but you'll get it. You'll be all right. Trust in yourself.
Yeah.
And you'll be fine.
Well, you did it.
Yeah. Well, with help.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how much help friends and family she has, but now is the time where those who love you will be by your side.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you allowed to go back with your children for dental visits?
Well, I think until the child gets to decide at some stage, 12, 13, something like that, right? I forget exactly what it is.
Well, this was like an 8-9-year-old.
Well, then yes, you always go back with an 8-9-year-old.
They were saying you can't.
Is this one of them COVID things?
I don't know.
This is probably one of these leftover COVID policies. I would suspect. I would have to suspect. Because I had a bunch of children, and until they're at the age where they can kind of deal with it themselves, and each child was different. It kind of depended on the child. So I don't know why it would be anything other than that. I would find a different dental office, frankly.
Yes.
Because if somebody doesn't want the parent around, it always becomes suspect. Okay. All right. And before we go here for our first break, I want to let everybody know you can send your questions to us at loveatlatenightLove.us. Okay. Yeah. We are back. We're going to discuss moving on to some work questions. All right. That's going to be an ugly cut into from the break for our KUBU listeners. All right. It's even going to be more strange for our listeners who aren't on K. What the heck are these people doing? All right. So we got some more questions. What do we got, Lovey?
Okay. This person does not eat at work.
Yes.
He does not feel comfortable eating around other people.
Okay.
Period.
I make it a policy not to eat at work. The whole point of lunch is to get away and to recharge and to reset your time frame. Is to rest. It's a rest period. Whether you eat or not is irrelevant. It's a rest period. And you can't rest if you're sitting at your desk. And even when I worked on places where you couldn't, I get to come home for lunch now. But even when I worked at other places, I'd go sit in the car for lunch. Because I want a different environment.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, don't eat at work. Stop eating at your desk. All of you, stop eating at your desk. For the love of whatever you do or don't believe in. You know what I'm saying? Stop it. Also, when you take your breaks, get up, walk around, stretch yourself. People at work actually told me I inspired them because I get up and I walk around and take a walk around the building.
Did you?
Yeah.
Good.
And I don't eat at my desk. She was telling me about how she used to stop eating at your desk. Why do you people eat at your desk? There's a beautiful park outside, right outside the building. Picnic tables, shade of the trees. What is wrong with you people? Drives me crazy. Why are you eating? It's not good for your stress levels. Stop it. I know it. You don't realize it's not good for your stress levels, but it's not. So you are personally, for me to whomever this is, yeah, no, good for you. I'm with you. Don't eat at work unless you can avoid it. I mean, sometimes you can't avoid it, right? It is what it is.
Well, he doesn't go out for the holiday meals when they have get-togethers at restaurants. They go out after work for dinner. He doesn't go to any of those things.
Neither do I, if I can avoid them. One, I don't like socializing over food. Am I here to eat or am I here to socialize? What am I here to do?
Both.
I was instructed as a young child to not talk with your mouth full, and I'm either eating.
There's something emotional that happens, some bonding when you sit down and eat with people.
It doesn't happen to me. I just want to finish my dinner and go. We can go and bond somewhere else. Can I not sit there and bond with you while I'm shoving food in my face? It never made sense to me. So I'm with this guy, but then again, I guess we're weird. So, sometimes you have to accept that you are on the, you are the black sheep. And it is what it is. But I'm with you. So how's that? All right. So what is next?
Is it appropriate not to answer calls from work during your time off?
For most of you, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's some of us who are on call because they're responsible for things that are 24/7 and you have to answer your phone. But for most people, it's your time off. There's no obligation for you to answer an email or a phone call or a text until you time in. Now, it may be a courtesy on some level to read them and check and make sure it's not something that you can quickly solve. Right? Someone sends you a quick text letting you know that they're going to be late tomorrow. Okay, thanks. They're sick and they're going to make it. Okay, thanks. So you're prepared, right? So I have to open the doors. I can't be late. That kind of thing. But for general average person, no. But you don't have to be a jerk about it either. Right? There's a line there somewhere.
Yeah.
If a place routinely abuses that off-time communication, I'm 100% with you to completely ignoring it. But if it happens on occasion because of something very specific, then be a team player and answer them and deal with it. Right? That's come on. There's room in there for both things to be true. Okay, what's next?
Anything you can ask to suss out whether the position is stable?
You can ask. Just ask. You'd be surprised how well you can get an answer if you simply ask. Hey, is this a stable position for the next 4 or 5 years? Or is this something that's going to evolve because of the economy over the next 18 months? Just so I can plan. Those of us who are used to being freelancers are much better at this than people who are used to being time clockers, punchers, right? Because for a freelancer, every job has its end. So you're just asking, when's this ending? Right? It's fine. I just want to know when so I can plan for afterwards. That's it. It's business. I'm not emotionally attached or not, right?
Right.
It is what it is. But for people who get emotionally attached to their positions, to their jobs, it's a different question. So if you're not a freelancer of a freelancer mindset, then it's a more emotional question. And so you figure out where you're at, then just ask. Because trust me, as someone who is a boss, I much prefer a direct question rather than trying to figure out what the hell you're really asking. I may not be able to give you a direct answer, but I can give you an answer and you'll be able to figure it out. I might not be able to tell you the answer because I don't exactly know, but I can give you the best feedback I can. And so, yeah, just ask is the best way to deal with it. Get a quiet moment, you simply ask. Okay.
Manager asked me for a doctor's note for 1 day.
Yeah. Do you have a habit of doing this? Because I don't know anybody who gets sick and then spends all day at the doctor's office to get a note. But at the same time, on these days, you can usually get a note just by calling your doctor's office and they'll send you one. They'll email you a thing. You don't even have to go in. So, I don't know. I would be suspect about either that manager or the stability of the company. If they're
That's what I wondered.
Yeah. Either the manager is kind of a douche, and what do you want to do with that? Do you want to work for him anyway? What do you care? Well, we're gonna write you up. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah, whatever. Yeah, what do you care? But I would wonder, if layoffs are around the corner and whatnot. But do you really want to work for someplace that's going to micromanage your sickness? Unless, of course, you have a history of calling in sick, and then that's a different question. So, how's that for an answer? I'm very reluctant to continue working for someplace that would do that unless you have a habit of calling in sick and they're tired of it. That's the other side of that. So it's suspect one side or the other. All right. What do you got?
Okay. I'm starting my first job and I have zero clue how to do it and it frightens me.
Well, it's supposed to frighten you, and no one has any clue how to do it.
No one the first day has any idea.
No. I mean, unless you got to learn under your dad, and then you're going to work, and your first real job is right doing the same thing for the farmer down the street or something. No one knows what they're doing on the first job. That's why they have this thing called training. They give you somebody who walks you through how to do the job, and they usually start with the easy stuff, see how you do there, and then you kind of work it to more complicated. They know.
Mm-hmm.
And depending upon where you're working, they might have you starting with stuff that, trust me, you know how to do. If you're working in some kind of food industry, you're washing dishes, right? You know how to wash dishes.
Yeah, you do.
If you're working in some type of retail, you're stocking shelves. And guess what? You know how to stock shelves. You've seen them stocked every time you walk through a store. You know how to make it look like that. The only question is to make sure you put it in the right spot. You just check the label and they'll tell you how to do it. They'll show you how to do it.
Yeah, they will.
So here's the thing. Don't be afraid to ask questions. If you're not sure, say so. We used to have a saying about this when we worked on an assembly line. It's you better ask somebody. If you don't know, you better ask somebody. Because doing, in that particular case, doing something wrong could be at the end of the thing somewhere down the line, 6 months later, someone can get killed. If a hose goes bad, we made it bad, and it happens to go out on someone who's on a man lift working on there's all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
There's all kinds of things that could go wrong and theoretically get someone killed. And you're likely not in that position, but it's a good mindset to have.
Yeah.
You better ask somebody. So it's okay to ask somebody. But yes, they will train you. Don't worry about it so much. And hopefully it's a decent job and they're not selling vacuum cleaners door to door. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. What's next?
Is it wrong to leave work on time? A coworker keeps making fun of me for leaving work on time.
No, it's just some cultures and some people are, they like to work. And they get their value as a human being by how much work they're doing. And you likely have other things that make you complete as a human being. Neither one is right or wrong. It just is. But no, On time means you're leaving for work on time. I don't know what the job is. Lots of people like lots of this. If you can get overtime, they'll take it. And other people don't need it.
Yeah.
So don't worry. I wouldn't worry too much about it unless there's a really strong culture of working, a lot of overtime. But I wouldn't worry so much about it. Let your coworker keep on talking. What do you care?
What a jerk. Anyway.
What do you care?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What's next?
Boss approved vacation, but expects me to be available on call.
Well, it's good to want things. Builds character when you don't get it. But again, there are situations where people who are on vacation still have to work. At least log in and push a couple buttons.
Enter, look at emails.
Maybe even not even look at emails. Well, look, I'm going to use the example I know. If you happen to be the schedule person for a small, say, public access or type TV station, right? You only have one person that does that job. And that person goes on a 2-week vacation. Someone still has to set those schedules. And if there's a live event that has to be clicked on, someone, and now if it's a regularly scheduled live event, it sets automatically. But if it's like a sporting event that can vary in length, someone has to log in to turn that off and switch it back to normal schedule. But here's the trick. That's built into the compensation. That's
okay.
When you take that kind of a job, you understand that going in. So it's all kind of rolled up and considered. It's part of the consideration before you say yes. Am I willing to do that? Am I willing to, on my vacation, log in, 3 times over the course of a week, spend 20 minutes making sure everything's correct? Or am I willing to answer the phone while I'm on vacation to fix an emergency problem? If you're not, then you shouldn't take that job. Now, for most jobs, you're right? You're on vacation, you're gone, you're off. Turn the dang phone off, don't answer them, tell them to pound sand. But some jobs have higher responsibilities, and you should know that going in. And if they've added those responsibilities to your jobs, their compensation should have altered with it. And if it didn't, that's because you haven't negotiated properly. Now, you can point your finger, wag your finger at them for doing you dirty, perfectly fine, but you should have stood up for yourself as well. So it's, accept some fault and go stand up for yourself. Okay. All right. So we are on to relationship questions.
Okay.
All right. What do we got? Oh, let's see what kind of trouble I can get myself into today.
Okay. My boyfriend isn't talking with me over my customer service voice. What should I do? They start discussing. She works customer service. This is her voice now. This is
no,
the way
not.
she speaks.
No, it's not.
Oh, she says it is.
I'm not saying she doesn't think it is, but she slips into a different tone, and I could see how it would be very irritating. Having worked customer service, you do it a lot. You don't realize you slip into it. There was a different pace. There was a different tone. And when you're dealing with that in a personalized relationship, it comes off as condescending. That's what he's upset about. You're treating him like one of your customers, not like your partner. You're not doing it intentionally. It's not what I'm saying. Right? She doesn't realize she's doing it. Because that's what she's used to. She just slips into it. Because she's good at it. So why wouldn't she? She's not realizing she's doing it. Almost guarantee it. I'll bet you a large lunch with a drive-up window.
Where'd you come up with that one?
That wasn't mine. I stole it from somebody.
Okay.
But yes, I would accept what he's telling you, because you would expect the same thing. You don't realize you're doing it. Tell him you'll try harder. It's all he really wants to hear. Just tell him you're sorry, you didn't realize you were doing that, and you will work on it. You're amazing how far that will go. Even if you disagree. This is the same advice men get all the time. Don't tell her you're sorry, then she'll work on it, and yeah, you move on. And the thing is,
you do have to try and work on it.
Yeah, and she will.
Yeah.
Once she's willing to consider the fact that she is, to borrow a phrase, code switching on accident. The problem is she doesn't realize she's doing it, and it's perfectly natural. It's not a thing, right? It's not a human it's not a failure. It's just a human thing, right? When you come into problem solving or conflict resolution, you flip into what you do all day at work. Of course you do. It's perfectly natural. Everybody will do it unless they really try hard not to. So it's right. Don't make it a bigger thing than it is. Just accept that give him the same grace you would want him to give you in this situation.
That's good advice. Yeah.
Okay.
My ex-fiance accused me of cheating, almost cost me my job, and now wants to apologize after 8 months.
Well, accept the apology and move on. You can accept the apology and doesn't mean you have to go back. And let's be clear, you're not accepting the apology for him, you're accepting it for you. So you can completely move on. Now it's done.
Well, that's true. Not everybody gets closure, even if it is 8 months later. I take it.
Yeah. You don't have to make it any more than that. Thank you. And move on. Thank you. I appreciate that. Move on. Simple. You'll feel lighter. Trust me.
Yeah, you will.
Okay. What's next?
My boyfriend is mad about me enjoying myself without him. Is this controlling?
No, it's immaturity. Let's be clear. She's 25. He's 22.
Yeah.
Yeah. In a few years, this will be a different question. He's 22. It's emotional thing. We normally get this question flipped around.
Yeah. It's usually the girlfriend
who's mad because he's pleasuring himself. And yeah, it's usually flipped around. But the answer is the same. It's got nothing to do with you or them. Right? Don't take it personal. They're not personal.
Yeah.
So yeah. But he's 22 and he's immature. In 3 years, by the time he's 25, he'll have gotten over this. So, and if he can't get over it, then he's not long-term relationship material for you, right? Whether it's controlling or not, it's not controlling. I doubt it's controlling. My guess is immaturity, and those two things can look the same. Doesn't mean they are, but they look the same. Maybe it's controlling, but my guess is immaturity.
Definitely.
Yeah. By 25, again, this is the age where he starts to mature on these type of things. So he will learn or not. This is where you learn if your relationship is long-term or not. This is those kind of things where you find out if he can mature or not. Good luck. Okay, what's next?
My husband told me after a year into our marriage that he doesn't want a baby. What do I do now? Well, you have a choice. You ask him, are you sure about this? because I have to make a decision here for myself. If you really want a child, you're going to have to move on and get someone else. Because you can't, what are you going to do? Get pregnant by accident? You know?
Oh, it happens all the time.
Oh, yeah, great. That's a great way to start.
Well, it's not necessarily an accident. You just enjoy yourselves and it happens. Unless he's the one taking care of it, that's his problem, right? Who's in charge of the birth control is in charge of the birth control. I'm just saying. If he still wants to play, then he's going to run the risk, isn't he?
Well, yeah.
So, but here's my things change. They're 29 and 30. They've got time. Give it another year. There's no need to rush. Because did he change this year? He's looking out at the economy and the state of the world and he's going, I just don't want to bring a baby into the world. Figure out why. Figure out what the change is. Maybe he's feeling insecure in his job prospects and he doesn't want to fail his family. Find out what's going on. See what his fear is and deal with that. That'll answer the real question. This is a marriage for better or for worse, right? You're supposed to work through these things together. You work through it together.
What if he can't? What if he just doesn't want a baby?
Well, work through that. You're going to have to work through it one way or another, right? My guess is there's a fear of something. Something has changed in the last year, a year into their marriage, right? They've probably discussed this beforehand. Something has likely changed, and that's a fear. Maybe he's feeling failure in a relationship. Maybe he's in an industry that's having lots of layoffs and he's afraid of the future. Who knows? Maybe he doesn't feel prepared as a parent. Maybe the thought scares him. He's not ready. And he doesn't ever want to be. Or maybe it's entirely selfish and he doesn't want to give up what the life he has now.
Yeah.
But that's also a fear.
Mm.
That's a fear of the life, the future being worse than the life is now. That's also its own fear. It's fear of change. So find out what he's afraid of before you start throwing out the baby with the bathwater. Okay, what's next?
It's my 40th birthday. My wife is throwing me a party this Saturday, but filed for separation last Thursday. Should I go or back out?
You back out. You don't go to a party. Why would you do that? Why would you go?
You're separated.
Yeah. Why would she? She's trying to have both sides of the coin on this one. She wants to present.
Can't.
She wants to present to the world that everything's still good, and it may be best intentions, right? Let's not. Again, these things aren't always done
with machinations
or spite. She had planned it, and she's just, I'm going to go through with it because, she's not thinking, right? She's under a lot of stress. But, you don't go. You just don't. Because you don't want to put yourself through that.
No, you do not.
No.
Why would you do that to yourself?
Yeah.
Don't go.
Yeah, you're going to be unhappy. You're going to be unhappy.
It's going to be too awful.
Yeah. So don't go. Go. Here's what I would do. Go find your best friends and go do what you guys do together. Go take a golfing weekend, whatever it is you guys go do. Go do that.
There you go.
All right. What's next?
My husband got too drunk and ruined my best friend's wedding for me. How do I forgive him?
Okay, well, I would actually need to know more about ruined, because ruined someone's wedding can be a lot of things. Was he a loud jerk, or did he just, just kind of loud, or was he a real jerk and angry drunk or whatever, started fisticuffs?
No, he was just embarrassed her. He didn't do anything to ruin the wedding.
So she was just embarrassed because he got overly drunk. But then you forgive him, and my guess is you forgive him and don't take him to weddings anymore.
No, he doesn't get to go.
Well, here's my guess: is he didn't like being at a wedding, so he drank to compensate for not wanting to be there, and he ended up over serving himself
Yeah.
because he really didn't want to be there. He's trying to. My problem with this is he's 33 and he should know better by now.
He really should.
But also, this is so common of a story. It's hard for me to get overly worked up for it. I understand that she's upset, but as an outsider, yeah, as long as it's not routine behavior,
Yeah.
yeah, you throw the proverbial shoe at him. He sleeps on the proverbial couch for a couple days and whatever. Out of a long marriage, really, it's stop taking him to nice things. That's what
Yeah.
You go to weddings by yourself. That's you have a better
Take a
time.
girlfriend.
Yeah. It's the thing is, as you get older, those type of answers become more acceptable than you do when you're younger.
They really do.
For some reason, going to a wedding without your spouse is like, it's offensive when you're young. I mean, when you're older, it's like, yeah, it's like, it's not a big deal anymore.
Nah.
It's just, no, you don't need to be here. You don't nobody here. I'm the only person here he knows. It's going to be torture for him. Why would I want to do that? Now, some guys like that. They enjoy that. They thrive on that kind of environment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And others don't. So know your spouse. That's what I'm saying. But how do you forgive him? Now, here's what you could do. You could make him work for it a little bit. You take advantage. Get some donuts and some flowers and maybe a trip to the spa out of the thing. As he tries to make up for it, just let him.
Well,
I'm not saying you manipulated him into doing it. Just let him. Yeah.
You think he'll throw money at it?
It's not throwing money at it. He's throwing time and attention. In his mind, it's not the money. It's she likes flowers. I'm getting her flowers or chocolate or whatever. It's not the money. It's not the thing. It's not throwing money at it. He's running through all the things and going, shoot, I screwed up. What is it that she likes? And this one is not even trying to get. It's just, how can I change the momentum of her thought process? It's not like she's going to get over it and forget. No. I'm just trying to stop her from getting simmering worse. Just trying to change the momentum. That's it. You're not trying to solve the big huge problem on this thing. That's not what you're trying to do. You're just trying to get her from stewing in there. You just want her thinking something else. Ooh, shiny pretty thing, or ooh, chocolate. Whatever it is. She gets a boost of good feeling, and she's still mad at you, but she's not getting worse mad at you. And so and time will solve the rest. All right. That's it. We know how to work you guys, just like you guys know how to work us. It is what it is.
A little bit.
Yeah. Hey, humanity is humanity. All right, on to some intimacy questions.
Okay. How can I convey to my boyfriend that I do really like going down on him? Now, she gags sometimes, and he thinks that's a negative feedback.
As you instinctively would. You just tell him.
It's normal.
Yeah, you're just going to have to tell him that you don't mind. That's it. You're looking for a nice, sexy, attractive, kind of, hinty way to tell him that you prefer your oral enthusiastically. and you don't not mind the repercussions of that.
Yeah.
You're just going to have to tell him that I like it that way. That's it. Now, some will still have trouble with it because it kicks the protective instinct type thing. And so
Yeah, well, some guys could learn a little bit from that, okay? Because some guys just don't really care.
Well, and then there's that, right? So again, the spectrum of the thing, you find yours. But I'll tell you this: it's easier to go from this way than the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
now you get to teach them how you like it exactly.
Yeah.
You get to teach them the boundaries. So, yeah, you're just gonna have to tell them. That's it. And trust me, it only seems awkward to you. It's not really an awkward. He much prefers you to be open and just tell him, so he can start working his head around it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, it seems my boyfriend gets insanely horny for a few days every month. But why?
Okay. Men and women both have their cycles.
Mhm.
What all you're doing is he's experiencing his cycle, and you've noticed. That's all it is. Which we just don't have a menstrual cycle. We still have a hormonal cycle.
Mhm.
It's it manifests it differently in everybody because hormones manifest themselves differently in everybody.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be all that surprising, really, that all of us, have some form of 28-day cycle, reproductive cycle.
Well, we all have water in our bodies and we're all subject to the moon.
Well, yes, but we're also fundamentally the same creature who works on we all fundamentally work the same way. And
Yeah.
so it makes sense that we would all have similar, similar biorhythms, even if they manifest themselves a little differently.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's perfectly natural. It just means he likely has big waves. He'd be one of those people who has tremendous PMS. If he was right,
Yeah.
yeah, he's one of those guys who'd have tremendous.
Be glad he's a guy.
Yeah, that's one of those things. Be glad he's a guy. All right.
Okay. Now this person, they're having intercourse, and there's like a wall there.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're virgins.
Yeah.
Is this normal?
Well, all right. I'm really old. It's been a really long time. I've had to even contemplate this type of a question.
Yeah, well, I remember quite clearly.
It's not that far in, right?
No.
So without knowing more detail, it's impossible for us to answer.
Okay.
They could be having a terrible angle.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that could be an issue. Because my suspicion is it's not all that difficult. The hymen is not all that difficult to break, and it's not all deep in if memory on my biology classes work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's likely something else, and likely inexperience.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So.
And why are you asking people on Reddit? Go to see a doctor.
Well, this is actually one of those things that some internet research could prove useful for both of you. Do it together, and you can learn some anatomy.
Well, that's a good start. Yeah.
Yeah. This is one of these things where you don't really, there's enough information out there if you look for it closely. Go to things like WebMD, and you can look for questions like this. Then do careful searches on the internet. Beginner's sexual intercourse type things.
Guide.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get pictures.
Pictures might be helpful.
Okay.
Right. And you guys, and you all may get yourselves excited, which would make it easier. So, I'm just saying nature we've been doing this for, hundreds of thousands of years. You'll figure it out. But now, unless someone has some type of physical abnormality that they may be dealing with without us knowing, that is always a possibility.
There was nothing in the comments.
They might not know.
Okay.
It's always a possibility.
Ooh. Okay.
Angles could be wrong simply because of a physical
Okay.
issue. So there may be cause to talk to a doctor if more routine research doesn't solve the problem.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not out the realm of possibility.
Okay.
Okay. Especially if they're this kind of ignorant and they don't know and they may not have talked to a doctor in a long time. It's possible. Happens more often than we think. Okay.
How to do it in the car without it shaking?
You don't.
You can't. Sorry.
I mean, depending upon the car, you could get a car with really stiff suspension and you be really kind of careful. I suppose you might. But no, that's the whole point of the suspension in a car is to smooth out the bumps from the road. And you're kind of you're kind of moving the cab without, anyway. Yeah. It's kind of set up to move, to make you comfortable when it's driving.
Yeah.
I mean, you could just be as careful and as slow as possible, I suppose. But yeah, get a room. Cars aren't that sexy anyway.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Is showered planned sex a turnoff?
Well, planned sex, hey, we're going to go meet up at 8 o'clock on Tuesday for sex, is not always exciting because on Tuesday at 8 o'clock, you may not be in the mood. You may have had a long day or something, right? I'm not going to say it's necessarily a turn off, but because, some people like that kind of thing, right? Some people like their things scheduled.
Think about it all day. Yeah.
Yeah. Or whatnot. But I don't know. It's a personal thing. It does take out some of the spontaneity of it, of sex. And that's sometimes is the fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the spontaneity thing. Frankly, it's more fun when you both kind of strike the mood at the same time. It just is more fun than if you guys are kind of doing it as a task to check off the checkboard for the day. And I suppose it can feel like that at times if you're scheduling it. But now if you're just scheduling time to spend with each other and you spend enough time and, you leave that open as a potential. And also remember, the younger you are, these things, hormones take care of themselves.
Yeah,
when you're
they
younger.
do. Yeah.
You make the time and you'll fill it. When you get older, I think I want to rest today. It was a long week. Okay.
Okay. Husband can't take hints, and I feel too embarrassed to just ask for sex.
Oh, this is the age-old problem. This really is. This problem goes back forever. This is a forever problem.
Why are we too embarrassed? They do not take hints.
Because we can't read your mind. You guys aren't as good as hints as you think you are.
How about a very simple, I'm in the mood, are you?
Could do that.
I mean, it's not crass.
You could just see, what the real problem is, and it's the same thing that men actually deal with. Men are just more open with discussing it, is we're afraid of rejection.
Mm-hmm.
Women aren't used to rejection in this field, so it hurts more. Men have been rejected so many times that it's just another time. Right?
Mm.
And so I think it's less embarrassment than fear. Manifests itself as embarrassment.
Yeah.
She's afraid of being rejected.
Mm-hmm.
And it's entirely possible. Maybe he's had a long day, a long week. His knee hurts, 100 of things. Just like a woman, maybe he's got a headache. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And now the answer is also the same things. If you're stressed and you've got a headache and something actually helps. But when you're stressed and have a headache, you're not feeling sexy. You're not feeling in the mood. So, you can walk the line in between. Husband and wives do get husband and wives benefits. You get to touch places other people don't. You want to let him know, generally know that you are interested, walk up and grab his junk, and he will get the signal. You want him to catch your hint? Do it while you're holding him. If you're feeling bold, and yes, it's embarrassing. You're feeling embarrassed, but it's your husband. It's the one person you're supposed to be able to drop that barrier to.
No, I have done that in relationship just to feel empowered. Ha!
Well, it's the benefits of what, it's like the relationship benefit you get, right? You get to do that.
Yeah.
So take advantage of your wifely benefit and send your hint with a strong reminder.
There you go.
And with everything, timing works. Right? If he's engrossed in something, this might not be the best time.
Yeah, in the middle of a football game, it's not a good idea.
Depending upon, we're all different, right? Some people will drop the football game, especially if it's not their, if it's their team and they've been looking forward to the game all week or something, that's not a good thing. If he's just watching a football game just because it's on and he's got nothing else to do, yeah, he'll take you over the football game. Right. So these things aren't universal, right? You've got to kind of, if he's really into the football game and it's his team, yeah, you're going to want to wait till afterwards, console him or help him celebrate. But, or if you're up for a quickie, halftime. But, but if it's not his team and he's just kind of watching it and puttering around the house and not really doing anything, yeah, that's the time to ask.
Okay.
Yeah. That's when he's not really engaged in anything, that's your prime target time. Right? If he's sitting there flipping channels or whatever, not really watching anything, prime target time, because he's open for entertainment and he's not finding any. The same thing applies to women, right? This is universal thing. It's if you are interested in engaging with your wife, timing, right? Unless she likes being interrupted while she's doing the dishes, you don't do it while she's in the middle of doing the dishes. She's mission focused. Leave her alone. Don't interrupt her while she's mission focused.
Here's an idea. Help her.
Yeah, help her get done. Then you can.
There you go. Because that's sexy. Helping with the dishes. Ooh.
It's not sexy. You're just done faster and you're...
It's sexy to us that you helped because you just couldn't wait to have us.
See, there you go. But for women, yeah, just pick your battles, pick your times. And trust me, you don't have to wait very long, right? Again, the length of a football game is the longest you're going to have to would ever have to deal with that. And again, if it's not his team, you're likely can. I guess the modern thing of that is video games. Pick your spot. Say, hey, can you talk? Hey, can you come talk to me before you start your next game? I got a surprise for you. He'll appreciate that.
Yeah, you could greet him with wearing a teddy.
Yeah, and he'll also appreciate the fact that you were willing to wait for him to his next game.
Yeah, we try to respect.
Now, some guys will tell his buddies, "You're on your own. I'm out of here." So you're gonna have to know your man. You know him better than you think you do. So the time, the win. And no, we're not good at taking hints because we can't read your mind. You're gonna have to be clear. You can write us a note, leave us a sign. We're good at that.
Literally, a sign.
Yeah. Then you may have to smack us up the back of the head to get us to read it. But... Hey, read that. What? Oh, yeah. Okay. That's what'll happen. I guarantee you. All right, so we're out of here tonight. We want to remind you that this September is Suicide Prevention Month. You can call 988 if you or somebody you care about is suffering and you're worried about them. You remind you that the place called Sacramento Film Festival here in Sacramento is on. You can get your tickets at accesssacramento.org for October 11th. And for me and Lubby, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. Have a good week, and please remember to love everybody.
Good night.